Delivering his talk, Release Your Inner Designer, please welcome to the stage, Rich Robinson.
Hello, fellow designers. So we're all designers, and what we should really start talking about is what is design, because if we're all going to be expected to be designing, we should know what we're expected to do. So if you ask the average person what design is, a lot of times they'll talk to you about the color of something, the typography, maybe even the layout. They'll tend to focus on like the visual aspects of design. And that's a good thing because design tends to be very visual. But a lot of times they'll go a little bit further and they'll start talking about how, well, I'm not an artist, so I can't be a designer. I can't draw even a straight line. And to that I say, well, that's why we invented rulers. So art tends to evoke like an emotional response. Where design is going to be much more specific. It's going to be for a specific problem. Design is not art. If you ask someone who, like me, is a professional designer, a lot of times they'll say, you know, design is about problem solving. So like this chair and this teapot, it's got a specific purpose. You're going to sit in one of them, you're going to pour tea from the other. Or, like Frank Lloyd Wright, he was given a problem to build a house on a waterfall. And so he built Falling Water, which is one of the pinnacle of modern architecture. So he not only solved the problem, but he solved it in such a way that he created like a name for himself and kind of reinvented where architecture could be. And that brings up this great quote from Steve Smith. He's a designer for GitHub. You know, what he says is, design is deliberately making something excellent. And what I love about this is that you can basically apply this to everything. So, case in point, you have the BlackBerry and you have the iPhone. And the iPhone does pretty much the same thing that the BlackBerry does, but the designers of the iPhone did it in such a way that people actually fell in love with an inanimate object. You know, what they did, they took a line from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which really stuck to me, is take your time and do it right. So they weren't the first smartphone, but arguably they're the best. And that line really stuck with me, which is why I went into a designer. And it should stick with you guys too, because everyone here is a designer. Doesn't matter what's on your business card, whether you're a developer, whether you're a police officer, or a firefighter, you're a designer, because what you're doing, if you're passionate about it, got some Arrested Development fans, nice. So, whatever you're doing, if you're passionate about it, if you do it really well, you're going to make a name for yourself. So, whether you're an alphabetist, whether you work in an office, if you're putting together TPS reports or something, don't just do it to move on to the next thing. Do it really well. If you're a teacher, if you're building a lesson plan, if you've got a parent-teacher conference, you know, just put your heart and soul into it. If you're a construction worker, I really hope that you're passionate about it, because I'm a big guy, and if I'm walking across your bridge, I don't want to fall through it. But beyond our career, we can put this kind of philosophy, this designer philosophy, to our personal lives. So whether our relationships with our spouses, that's my beautiful wife, she's out there somewhere. You know, we want to put everything into our relationships, that way they're the best that they possibly can be. Even when we're grocery shopping, we write a list so that we're efficient, and we clip coupons to save money. And when we're paying bills, we live off a budget, so that way we can have the most amount of money in our bank accounts at the end of the month for when our dog tears her ACL and needs surgery, which just happened. So, what we can do is we can adopt some personality traits from this guy. Now, I mean, not all of them, because the chain smoking, the drinking, the womanizing is probably not so good. But his confidence, when he's in a meeting, he owns it. That episode, The Wheel, he took responsibility for it. That ad campaign went across his desk and he put his name on it and he sold it. So take responsibility in your life, have passion. And what that's going to do is going to allow you to be awesome. Because once you're awesome, you want to have whatever you're working on be awesome too. There's a quote from Mike Montero. He's a designer and an author. And what he says is, everything that's wrong with design is your fault. But that's a good thing, because that means you can fix it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end on the immortal words of our 16th president, and it just happens to be from one of my favorite movies as well. And what he said back in the day was, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Thank you.